What's good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Stage. This week I have a homie, a man with an excellent mustache that's always dressed so well. You will hear more, but you will have definitely seen his work in a lot of events, both fighting games and esports this week. And for those that are listening or watching, because this is all on YouTube and on Spotify, podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to listen to it, wherever you want to watch it, it's there. So please tune in. Thank you, guys. But yeah, this week we have Drewface. Drew, what's going on? How you doing, man?
What's up, baby? How we doing?
Oh, man, that voice. Honestly, so good. I'm good. A little bit stressed, but we're past that part. This is all about you. This is understanding who you... understanding and finding out who you are, what you do, and how you have touched and affected everyone's lives in all spheres that you create, because you are a creator. But yeah, how's it going, man?
I think that's very overstating what I've done. I tend to think that I haven't done much impact on anyone. I just press a click a mouse and something appears, and I'm like, cool, looks pretty good to me.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. Like I click a button on the camera and something comes out, and that's just another photo, right? But no, you have done so much work. We'll cover a lot. Anything that you can't say, won't say, or anything you can't say, won't say, obviously, please feel free to let me know and tell me to move on. My questioning. This is not an interrogation, so
we'll fix it in post.
Everyone loves those words. It's amazing.
For sure.
Yeah. If you want to give everyone that's listening in and watching a little bit of an introduction about yourself, Drew.
Stop listening to the video. I'm not that interesting. I just click a mouse and people call me like a designer or art director, and I feel like that's a lofty title for what I do. Basically, designing in my underwear at home. But no, I create a lot. I do a lot. Like basically any graphical need, any visual need, people contact me. To do it. So, for example, I've done a wide variety of work, from like set production, set design, to lighting design, to graphic design, mostly graphic design, apparel design, broadcast production stuff. So it's been quite a ride, because I've worn many hats. Like it's been a fun journey, to say the least.
Good.
How's my ADHD though? So that's great.
I think everyone that I've had on, myself included being the host, we all suffer from a varying scale of ADHD. So you're in quite good company here, let's be quite honest. It's all good. You have done a lot. You have done many years of work, and you have touched a lot of pies as such, with everything you've dabbled your hand in, to say the least. From set design to light design to apparel to stage to everything you've done. And you give yourself very little credit, which is another reason why this podcast exists. People that work behind the stage don't get thanked enough. It's a thankless job regardless. But people need to see what people do, how hard people work for it, and the sacrifices they've made, but also the journey that, if we had the time traveling machine and we could jump back to where we started, you could give yourself some advice. That advice might help someone listening right now and go like, yeah, this sounds amazing. This is what I actually want to do. And hopefully people either reach out, if you feel free to let people reach out to you, or basically have some knowledge gain, because school isn't for dweebs. Everyone's always learning. And let's be honest, we're always on YouTube learning something to help with the next piece we're working on. This is why we do this. And again, so for understanding yourself, I'm going to give a very brief line items of things you've done that you have spoken about publicly. So hopefully I'm not breaking any NDAs, because I don't think we've got any right now. But just in case.
Thank God.
NDAs are the best and worst thing at the same time, right? So you have done...
It's been my entire career.
There you go, exactly. So for those that are in Valorant scene, you have done Shopify Rebellion's jersey for the last, at least, I want to say 2 years running.
Yep.
Yep, there you go. You have helped design apparel for at least for East Coast Throwdown in the fighting game scene.
Yeah, and a bit of Evil too.
And Evo as well. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So at least, those three things off the top of my head, like you've done fighting games, you've done esports, you've also potentially may have helped design one of the Valorant trophies, maybe.
Yeah, I think I can finally say it. I've designed the first regional trophy in 2023 for everybody. And that's a funny story because I initially was contracted by an agency to just work on merch. So like tote bag, shirts, posters, like just the fun stuff, right? And then they haven't asked me, hey Drew, do you want to try your hand at designing this trophy? And I was like, well, I play Valorant a lot. Like it's one of my favorite games. I'm still hard stuck diamond, so shout outs to anyone who want to carry me out of that, let me know. But what happened was like they asked me, hey, like, can you design this, like, you want to try your hand at designing this trophy? And I was like, well, I get paid more? And they're like, yeah, we'll extend your contract to do it. And gracefully, like, they let me do it. They were really happy, like, both Riot and the agency with what I did. And it happened to be. So I was just really fortunate to do that. But yeah, other things I've done too is like, from 2017 until now, like I worked with ESL on like select campaigns. So I'm either designing merch for them, broadcast graphics, or like even medals. Like I've designed the new state, like the mobile PUBG medals for 2022.
Wow.
That was really cool. And the ESL Brooklyn, I was part of that. I designed basically like all the merch activations for that. And then I've worked on like select activations with like the MLB for them too, and Madden. So that was really cool. Other things I've done, I was a creative director of a very, very, very underdog Canadian esports team that kind of got acquired by scumbags, but we don't have to go further into that. But before it got acquired by them, like I worked on like a really cool like skin, and it was a really popular skin. I think it's one of the more sought after skins in Rainbow Six Siege. So that was really cool. Like my career has taken me places, and it's all because like, you have a drink with someone, turns out that like because they enjoy being around you, they're like, hey, what do you actually do? And I was like, I click a mouse in my underwear. And they're like, no, what do you actually do? And I'm like, well, I'm a graphic designer, or like I'm a designer. And then things just open your doors. Like, and I think that's like, I think we'll touch upon that point later on, but I'm very grateful for like my career and how it's panned out, because I was just a goofball in Canada who loved fighting games a little too much. And it turned into like, hey, you're working everywhere, including what you love. And I was like, hell yeah. And then you learn to love other things too. So I've been really, really fortunate in my career.
Damn right, no, you have. Hardworking, and I don't mean this in any disrespect. As always, there's always a little bit of luck involved, but it's always where hard work comes in first. Like luck is who you meet, but you put in the hard work to showcase your talents and what you create and what you design. And this is where it got you. You've worked with so many activations, so many brands, so many names, and you're only on to bigger and better things. Like from apparel to Rainbow Six skins to the world's largest fighting game tournament stuff to East Coast Throwdown to everything. Like there's too much to name. So you mentioned 17. Was that where you started? Like where do you start? Like in creating into the event space? Like where was you? Again, fighting games is where we all came from, right? So I was fortunate because when I was 16, like I was already like using Photoshop and designing posters for my local. And so we used to have a really big, like, I guess, regional major called the T Series, right? And when I was 16, I was like, hey, like, I would love to, like, make this. Like, I do art I do art. And the guy who gave me my first shot, his name was Dark Dragon. And I'm forever grateful. He was like, yeah, I'll give you a shot, make the poster, right? So I made the poster, and he was like, this is really good. Like, we're going to use it. And they started promoting with it. And from then on, like, I just kept, grinding and hustling.
And I did it for the venue fee. Like, I was 16. Like how was I gonna make money, dude? I just wanted to play fighting games, and I wanted to go to like where everyone wanted to be, which at the time was this regional major called like the T Series. I think it was like T9 or T10 I got my first shot, and then I'm really grateful for that. And from then on, like I just kept building and building and building, and then it led me to like really, really like absurd places. Like, so it's and I'm really grateful because like, yeah, there's a lot of luck involved, right? Like I think everyone can do what I can do, or maybe I'm just being a little modest about that, but a lot of like I think everyone can do what I can do truly, and the only difference is that like how I interact with someone. My work ethic, that's what made me stay. And I think that's the most important part. Yeah, like I may have gotten lucky with like all these things, but people keep coming back because of like the work, the communication I put in, and just like my process of how I do things. And I'm really, really happy that people still trust me to do stuff. Because like honestly, I would have trusted me to do stuff, but things just happen and it works out, and it looks okay. And for the time, it looked great. To me, I'm just like, it's done. I'm out. Like, thank God the pressure's over. It's all over. Like, you know. So I'm very grateful for that.
So a few questions I want to ask with what you've just said. When the second you're done, you are free, right? Are you a procrastinator? Like again, we've all got ADHD brain. Some of us manage to do things within a certain time frame. Sit down, like we have a timeline, we have a deadline, right, to hit, but in between of getting that contract and getting the scope to building the product to delivering it, are you one of those people that wait till the end, or do you like do it all in the set amount of time that you say you're going to do it? Like, I'm going to do this for 2 hours today, 2 hours tomorrow, and so on. Or are you just like, hey, it's the deadline tomorrow, I've got 24 hours to do this, let's get it done?
Usually when people assign me work, I tell myself like, hey, like, do it now, start on it now, and then put it down when you're like exhausted. I built that habit up over the years because I used to be a procrastinator. Sometimes I still am, but a lot of times people a lot of the opportunities I got is because I've like also like saved like some teams. Just like they like, hey, we gotta break glass. Call Drew. Drew will do this for you. He'll get it done in like whatever. Within the time frame, and then I get it done. So there's that too. And I tend to like half my career has been like, hey, like we need this last minute. Can you do it? We'll pay you large sums of money. And I'm like, I do like the large sums of money. Okay. And then other times it's like, hey, Drew, we need this done like in 4 months. Like let's like build this out. Let's go round by round. And as I've gotten older, and I think I advise and tell every young designer is to to start it. Getting started is the hardest thing to do. Yeah. Try to get started. Spend as much time as you can to get started, because once you get started, the ball's gonna get rolling and you'll forget like how much time you put in. Which can be dangerous, but like especially if the client's like billing by hour, but try your best to get started as soon as possible. And you'll thank yourself later, because you'll like I'm glad, like, you know, God bless my parents for Asian genetics and all that. Like, I don't look my age. I could have looked worse at 30, so, or 32 or whatever. So there's that. So you'll thank yourself. Just start as soon as you can. Try to like, because getting started is the hardest part. Just try your best. Like, get started. Just try. Put something. Produce a rough draft. And I tell all my clients now, I'm like, hey, our first round, it's gonna look like dog shit. Like I tell them like straight up, like, sorry if. You can bleep that out in post, because I know YouTube is very harsh on it.
We're swearing, it's fine. I don't care.
Yeah. I was like, hey, I keep it brutal. I keep it brutally honest, and that's another thing for young designers. Be transparent. I tell my clients, hey, this first round, it's gonna look like complete dog shit, but the second round will look amazing, because by the second round, you're already in the momentum of doing it, and that's when your creative juices get flowing. So that's what I tell most of my clients. And because I'm transparent, I think they trust me for that. And I trust them to trust me for that, because somehow they're always happy at the end. And I'm happy too, because that's all, like, customer satisfaction is number one thing, right?
Damn right. So from the T series, you know, your regional I'm gonna say, and you mentioned Canada, so I'm gonna say Toronto because that's the only T.
Yeah, Toronto.
Cool. Toronto. Sorry, Drake fans, you're all out.
Thank you. Hey! We don't. That is Voldemort in these lands. Right?
Good.
Right?
Good. Keep it that way.
A very rough time. It's a very rough time. Very rough time. Toronto's taking only L's, baby. Even in baseball, we didn't extend Vladimir Grill. I don't know why. Anyway, that's just not to get off track.
It's all good. It's all good. We're going to go everywhere today. So it's all good. So you started at the T Series, started like at T Series 10, and that was a regional. Like, what happened from there? Like, you got your shot. They started promoting with it. Like, how did that snowball to where you are now? Like, talk me through the timeline.
Like, I hate to admit this, but working for exposure is a very bad idea. What I tell people is like, don't work for free. Make it a two-way street, right? Yeah, you might not get monetary paid, but are you working with like a company that's like super reputable, right? Or are there people that are in higher positions that are watching you, right? Because you never know who's watching. You never know who's paying attention, right? That's how I got all these opportunities. I did my best on everything I got given to me, like the best possible. And then even if I'm having a bad day, even if like the client's like, we always get that rough client who like will attack you personally. But when you get older, you realize they're not attacking you personally. That's just how they feel. They don't know how to convey it in a way where it's not personal.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound personal. But eventually, like, you do your best, even in the face and adversity of all those things. And then you never know who comes calling. Like, I remember so I worked with Toshiba immediately after.
Okay.
I did like, they wanted, and by the way, getting paid like $500 as like a 60-year-old is an incredible feeling, by the way.
Yes.
But, of course, right? Like, you're like, hey, I can't afford the tournaments. To like, hey, I could go to everyone. I could finally get some arcade quarters and not have to like, beg my mom to like give me some dollars to play at their arcade. And after that I worked with Toshiba on they were giving out TVs, and it was the early days of Street Fighter 4. So they were giving out TVs for tournaments, and they needed someone to do posters. Because of my work with the T Series, like, someone noticed from the community.
Okay.
Which is why I bring up, like, hey, do your best, like, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They get, like, that happened. And then from then on, like, I did this series of posters for this company. And it just kept going and going. And whenever availability is a really important thing, too. And whenever I never really said no to like, opportunities that were like, hey, this is, like, a really good opportunity. I should take it. I never really said no. And then it just snowballed. And then from then on, like, it kept going and going. I kept like doing other tournaments, other events. And then, believe it or not, like, I wouldn't be like doing riot activations if I didn't like, chum it up and have a really friendly conversation with someone I didn't even know. It left a great first impression. And that's the thing. You can never really take away a first impression.
Sure.
And my job as a designer, and I think every designer should think like this, when you work on especially branding and marketing, if you're trying to leave a good first impression without the person physically being there, all right? So that's like my big thing, and I learned that early on, and I'm very glad that I learned those lessons early on, because now, like, it's helped me, elevate my career to where it is now, where like I'm being interviewed by you, and you're literally listing everything I say, and I didn't realize like I did all that. Like, I was like, damn, I did do that.
Yeah, you did do that. I'm not saying I do homework on all my guests, but I like to know what guests do, because you're coming on to talk to me, of all people. Like, I'm not a big name, and I just want to spread the love.
Oh, I mean, you are to me, baby. You are to me, baby. Come on. There's only two photographers in Europe that I know. It's you and Vaccini. That's it. And I think your last guest too. I think I can't say her name. Adela, yes.
No, Adela, she's lovely. Hopefully I will work with her one day. Work with Vaccini again. Hopefully one day. We keep talking about these things. We'll make it happen one day. We keep pushing forward. But you mentioned these lessons you learned early on. like, who taught you these lessons? Like, where did you, what happened to make you learn that lesson? And not in a mean way, but was it someone telling you? But did you read it in a book? What put you in that situation where you go, like, I do have to put my best foot forward. I have to keep putting my best foot forward. You're seeing this for the first time. Like, I have to leave a good first impression.
I was very conscious as a kid, like very self-conscious, right? So I noticed, like, when with the people that people liked, where they left a good first impression. They're always having a good time. They're always like very positive, upbeat, or just like excited to be somewhere. And then I realized, like, oh, I meet more people when I'm this way than the other way. And then every time I left a positive impression, that person kept, coming back and like wanting to play games with me, or wanted me to like hang around, or inviting me to places. So then I realized, I was like, oh, like, like having a good first impression is really important. So then I picked up on that, and I was like, hey, like, people look before they do anything. They look to see stuff before they interact. That's your first interaction. It's visual, right? With most things, hopefully most things. Like, for example, you see a car crash, right? You're like, I don't want to go there. But that's your first impression of a car crash.
True.
And when you're in one, you realize why it's bad. Well, or rather, you see it and why it's bad. But, like, this is an example one, right? So I learned that really on. And then other things I picked up from, like, from people who are like really successful and always like moving up. For example, like how to talk to people, how to interact with people, how they treat others. And I was like, I gotta like not copy it per se, but I gotta see how I could like make it my own way, because I'm not a millionaire. I'm not gonna be able to like pay everyone's bill when they have drinks, like, but I can, like, one day hopefully, but I can, like, just invite them out to drink. Like, or invite them out to hang out, so stuff like that. And I'm very glad I learned it early on, because if I didn't, like, I don't know where I'd be right now. I'd probably be like, I don't know, summing it up with the Lords, like,
yeah, no.
So yeah,
fair. No, that's good. No, that's definitely like a good way to looking at it, and having that introspective moment of noticing how people react to how you act, like outside, outwardly. So yeah, from T-Series to Toshiba, like, what happened after Toshiba? Like, how did we get to Evo? How did we get to Shopify Rebellion and Valorant? And yeah, it's like, talk to me.
I mean, I kept one of the things I like to do is I keep practicing. Right? Like, you notice, like, I do like practice posters. I still do it to this day. When I want to learn something, I practice, and then one day, someone was like, hey, like, do you want to do Canada Cup? And I was like, what do you mean? Do I want to do Canada Cup? And it was, Canada Cup isn't, it infamously burned, like, it went down in flames. But during the time, it was like Canada's biggest, like, tournament. Yeah, it was. And then they gave me the shot. I made the poster, and people were like, whoa, this is better than last year's poster. And I was like, yeah, I did it.
Which Canada Cup was that?
And then it started with, I think, 2015.
Okay.
I did 2015 until 18.
Right.
And yeah, it was, I mean, from then, and then during that time, I started a clothing line called 50/50. And I was printing t-shirts. Like, I learned how to print a t-shirt, like, by myself. I borrowed my friend's machine, he showed me, and I was designing on t-shirts and stuff, because I like fashion. Like, it's one of my interests, right?
Yeah. And
I didn't like at the time, only Broken Tier was doing cool fighting game stuff. I love streetwear, but I'm not gonna wear and I love skating, like the culture of it, but I don't skate, right? So I'm not gonna wear like a skateboard, like that's a poser move, right?
Yeah.
But I love the graphics, I love the style of it, I love punk culture, like metal, like it was. So I started doing stuff for myself, like, and I try to merge like fighting game elements into like the visuals of those subcultures that I loved. And I it was fairly successful. Like, I think it was pretty popping for like 2-3 years. It was called 50/50. That's when Rick noticed me, the Hado from Combo Breaker.
Okay.
He asked me, he's like, he asked me, hey, like, how are you doing this? I was like, yeah, I'm just doing it like in my friend's basement, just printing T-shirts, you know, like, and I designed it myself. And at the time, like, I just started like college, and I was about to wrap it up because I accelerated my program. I did like I graduated. It was like it was like a 3-year program, and I did it in like 18, 19 months. And
that's a grind.
straight.
Yeah.
Straight. Every day, another class. I took it because I was like, I already know all the programs. Like, I already know how to do it because I learned by myself. It's like, I'm always getting better, right? Learn from YouTube. Shouts to the college of YouTube. So I went to college, got the paper, and then after I started clothing line, and Rick noticed it, and he's like, well, how'd you, like, you're just a kid in Canada. This is crazy. This is cool. And I was like, yeah, I'm just a kid in Canada. Like, from Toronto, like, you know, and like at the time, not a lot of people were doing cool things up here, like in the FGC.
Really?
So I started clothing line. Rick invited me to become a combo breaker from like 2017 to like 2019. I kept going, and he gave me a booth each time. I was selling clothes, and that's how I met like the Capcom guys, and then like Mike Pizarro. You guys, if you don't remember, like shout outs to Mike too. He gave me a lot of love. He still gives me a lot of love to this day. And then I met a guy named Josh there too. And then anyway, like Rick gave me a shot, and he's like, "Do you do graphic design?" I was like, "Yeah." I was working for like one of Canada's biggest vape companies. And I was also helping run their expos, like doing all their marketing graphics and all that stuff. And yeah, like and working with Health Canada to like legalize like vaping and cannabis, like just like making labels and working with Health Canada to doing all this stuff. And he was like, "You do this professionally?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my day job. You know, I work in like the vape company's marketing arm, but I was doing graphics for them."
Yeah.
And we started working together and stuff. Like we whenever he needed help with something, I helped him out, and it blossomed from there. And that's how I got the Evil gig in 2022. He was like, "Hey, I'm the GM of Evil. Like, you want to help me out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll help you out." And then during that time, from 2018 to like 2023. I started also a TO like event production company called Incendium, with like Vince RXS and Mufasa, who is now like the main head guy. But back then, like I started doing that stuff, and Toronto really needed like a TO after like the Cup 2018, because I don't, you guys can Google what happened, but it wasn't great. And because of like me going to Combo Breaker and like all these like small Philly tournaments, well not small, like Biggie had amazing like fun tournaments to be around, people recognized and they trusted the work. And yeah, they're like, "Hey, this guy's actually part of the community." I was like, "Yeah, I was here since I was 16, like 15. Actually, I was there since I was like 14. So it was like, you know, just doing stuff." And yeah, it was kind of just really organic. Like everything just happened all at once. Like Rick asked me to run like technical tour stop in Canada. Called, and I made it called Electric Clash.
Yes.
And what I did was like, I love metal. Like, look at me, man. Like, I have face tattoos. Like, I'm like, I look like a dude who would like just like, you know, shred guitars and stuff. And I was like, "Hey, like Electric Clash, like, why don't we just make it like metal themed?" And I made it metal themed, and then that's how East Coast Throwdown noticed me. They're like, "Hey, Rick told me all about you. This is crazy work." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I love metal." It's like, and he was like, and then Zach and Walter was like, "Wait, Walter, I know you." He's like, "Yeah, you're that kid that go to East Coast majors, like the Philly majors." And I was like, "Yeah, I played Super Turbo with you on IRC." He's like, "Yeah, you're that kid. I remember you now. He's known me since I was 18, playing Super Turbo with me." Yeah. And then like, I didn't know he was running East Coast Showdown. He's like, "Yeah, I like this guy. I know he's part of the community. I played Super Turbo with him before GGPO was a thing. Like when it was a beta, you know, like
Original fight game.
And then yeah, the original fight game. And then that's how like I got into the East Coast Showdown. Rick gave me a shot. Zach and Walter were like, hey, this kid. And Walter was like, I remember this kid. This idiot DP mashing kid played Super Turbo with me. And I was like, yeah, Walter, I've known you since I was 18. and then that's how like, yeah, and then that's how like I managed to like, for the last like 6 years, I've been managing to do like all like East Coast Showdown's graphics, from like the apparel to like the broadcast to like the posters. I don't do all the amazing illustrations, so those belong to like, I think Leanne and like I think the new person's Aya. Like those belong to them, but like I what I do with them is I break it down and turn it into like a graphic package, like the art direction for the whole look of the show. And yeah, that I was very grateful for not just Rick, but Zach and Walter, and because of how I worked with them, like they've given me shots. But yeah, that's how I got all the evil stuff and the ECT.
Yeah,
I just one day I was like, hey, I'm just gonna do it myself. Shouts to DIY. It's another event in the East Coast, which, by the way, I made the logo for.
At this point,
like
what logo you haven't made for Canada events, Canadian events, and East Coast in general?
I mean, like, yeah, it's just a crazy life. And then, yeah, from then on, it just snowballed. And then now I'm doing stuff for like Tampa Never Sleeps. I made their logo they've been using the last 4 years.
Yes.
And then like other events too. And even the kickback, I like helped design that and for Casa. And it was like, it's just been a crazy ride. It's like just literally being a kid who matched Dragon Punch on Super Turbo too much to like doing this. And that's what happened. I was just like that's why I said, you never know. Like, always do your best. You never know who comes calling. You never know who's important, especially in the FGC. There's so many people that work in esports that came from the FGC, right?
And we're just trying to bring them back together.
And to bring it all back together. Like, yeah. Even with the Riot thing, right? Like, how I got all those Valorant jobs was like, the guy named Josh, he was like the head of like Capcom Esports at the time. He had a really great conversation with me. Turns out that like I do graphic design. He asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to do merch design for this? And I was like, sure, I'll do it. Right? And it turns out to be Valorant, a game that I was like really hyper fixated on. I still play it.
Yeah, same.
And yeah, like, I mean, I don't play daily. I don't have the time, but like I play when I can. But like, it's like, yeah, that's what happened. They had a great convo with me at the conversation with me at Combo Breaker, and it led to that. And now I get to say I designed like stuff for Valorant. Even the Game Changers broadcast production, right? That person, I used to be a TV show host, and that person was the camera operator and director.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. They're like, hey, Drew, like, you still do graphic work? And I was like, yeah, here's what I've done. He was like, you don't need to tell me what you've done. I know it's good. Just like, you want to help do this? And it's like, yeah, what is it? It's like refreshing like the Valorant Game Changers, like North America look. And yeah, it's like just from fighting games, man. It's crazy.
Just from fighting games. It's
and not only that, just from leaving a good first impression, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, you're a very lovely person, speaking to you online for so many years, leaving a great first impression in person, having the skills to back up the talk, from learning yourself, doing it yourself, and putting.
Now that's flattery.
That definitely flattery, but it's also very true. You put in the hours, you put in the work, you meet so many people, from mashing Dragon Punch on Super Turbo on the OG Fightcade to being asked to see if you wanted to help work on East Coast Throwdown, to work on Valorant, designing merch, to helping redesign the whole Game Changers package. And again, shouts to Game Changers and Valorant, Walter, Biggie, East Coast Throwdown, everyone that Drew has just mentioned in this current at the moment conversation. Yeah. They're all wonderful people. They're nothing but love from Tampa Never Sleeps as well. Tong, shouts to him. He has been non-stop, non-sleeping, just working, grinding. Tong Never Sleeps. That's just the other name for TNS, right?
I give him a lot of shit because every time I see him, I'm like, hey, I made your logo. He's like, I know. He keeps saying it. And I was like, I know. Even though it's like a very small part, because like I tell So here's the thing about my ideology on branding, right? Branding, people think branding is what they think of their own brand. I'm like, that's not how branding works. Branding is what others think of you. I can make you a cool symbol, and it'll leave like a cool impression. Like, for example, if you have a professional looking symbol, people are going to think you're professional. But it can only be backed up if you do professional work. What Tonga has done, I have no credit. Like, I can't take any credit for that. He's made my logo look very good because he does incredible work. He does so much for the FGC. That's why that logo looks good, because of him, not because of me. I just made something he felt like looked good. But the work he and his team puts in, shouts to all those guys.
Honestly.
That's the reason why that logo looks good. And that's why any logo will look good. You don't only remember McDonald's because of the fries they serve you. That's just a normal fucking M, right? But if you weren't drunk at like 2 a.m. and McDonald's wasn't there for you during those nights, you wouldn't care about that logo at all. True. That's what makes the McDonald's logo powerful. It's because of the work that goes behind it. Not the work that the designer does. Even though it is a lot of hard work, it's that to keep that logo up, what are you going to do? You got to do incredible work. And that's why I think like people forget that about branding. But that's a side tangent. Sorry.
No, that raises a lot of questions in my mind. Like, we could talk about the psychology of branding, and that may be a second episode of getting you on, because that's actually very interesting. Because branding and logos. I was just about to ask you, what do you think about Starbucks refreshing the logo for like the millionth time? But we will not go on that tangent right now. But yeah, you've done so much within the FGC, within esports as well, for corporations, for businesses, like you mentioned Toshiba.
Oh yeah.
Within fighting games specifically, I'm gonna go there because that might be the easiest part for me. Maybe not for you. Like, within fighting games, what do you think you are most known for creating?
I think probably East Coast Slowdown. I think at this point.
Okay.
Like that, I can legally say.
That's been released now. Everyone has seen already. East Coast Throwdown. Like, for the last 2 years, like, Elijah, Walter, Zach, those guys held it down. Like, they all love music. And that's, I can just say as a broad statement, music as a whole. It's not even just a subgenre or genre of music. They just love music. And that's what I feel is encapsulated within East Coast Throwdown. You brought the heavy metal rock energy to it, or you multiplied it even because it was already there. Like, I believe a few years ago.
It was already there.
And I can, personally speaking, like, looking at the work you produce and what's out there, Incendium. Again, shout out to those guys. Mufasa, he's always out there grinding. Always see him posting, like, trying to get more people to join up to onlines. But yeah, with East Coast Throwdown, what specifically are you most proud of within the East Coast Throwdown range that you've created?
I think just the evolution of the work.
Okay.
Because like somehow, like, I managed to keep reinventing it every year, and that's what I'm really proud of, because that's the hard part. You can if you get content with where you are, which is why, like, I have hard imposter syndrome every day, right? Like, but it helps motivate me to be better. And that's the thing. Like, I think reinventing the visuals every year is probably my proudest moment in the FGC. Just like figuring out a new way to like convey all these elements to still make it fighting games, but lean into like the metal look. And that's been, it can be challenging at times, but, and Zach's not like, Zach's and has amazing taste. So it's like, that's a high bar to clear every year. And it's something like I mull like hundreds and hundreds of hours over just figuring out what to do. And I'm grateful he trusts me to do this for you. It's been a great working relationship for sure for like the last 6 years. And Walter too. Like, I'm glad those two trust me with like that. They literally go, hey Drew, we trust you, get it. Do what you gotta do, and then I'll tell you if it's good or not. And I'm glad that you're there. And that's the thing, you gotta be honest, because like you don't want to be surrounded with people who'll be like, "This looks good," and you don't feel good about it. Like you always want to be surrounded with people that's like, "Hey, this is good," or "This is bad, fix it." Right? And that's the thing. Like I find a lot of young designers, their issue is like they take feedback very personally. Stop. Like it's not. Even if it is, like it's really not. Like it's just a negative reaction. You gotta figure out how to turn it into a positive one. That's your job as well as part of being a designer. And luckily, I'm a millennial, and being shat down my throat has been the normal thing in my life. So
yeah, we keep
like I call it experiencing ego death every time you submit work, and that's what you gotta do. You gotta leave the ego at the door and just realize that you are you turn into like a tool to paint this canvas, which is their mind. How do you properly like get what they want? That is what you do as a designer, solving that problem, really.
Yeah. No, 100% agree. And even though I'm not a designer myself, like I like resonate with what you're saying because it's so true. Like you should leave your ego at the door. Like you need to just deliver your best work where possible, or as best as you can do, and take that feedback on the chin. Because at the end of the day,
always,
it's just they do it. People will give you feedback whether you want it or not, regardless. But people that you are delivering to or delivering for, like they have a vested interest and they just care about their baby. They handed you their baby so that you could paint on that blank canvas, right? And then you just have to.
You're just a custodian.
Yeah, you're just a custodian. You have to hand it back eventually. Not pay alimony. Bad jokes aside. What's okay? On a similar topic of not alimony, but of East Coast Throwdown and what you're most known for, what is your favorite piece of merch, or what is your favorite piece that has your work printed on, and it can't be something that you've made yourself with the 50/50?
For East Coast Throwdown or just in general?
East Coast Throwdown first.
Oh, man, I don't know, man. Each year I get better at it. They're not. Well, I mean, people don't think I get like maybe people are like, you get better at this stuff. It's like all the time. But really, like each year, it's hard to say. It's like picking a child, right? Like I don't know which one, but I can tell you like the one I'm pretty proud of because I found a new technique to turn like raster images onto a T-shirt that can be very affordable. Okay. That way, TOs can print work and get paid, and make money on these events because people like they cost a lot to do these events, like a lot of money. And so, like, I managed to like figure out a new way to design something.
Okay.
Where I could design it in like Photoshop or a raster image, blow it up into like a printable format. I was very proud of it. It's the Reaper Arcade Reaper tee.
Okay, yeah.
I was very proud of that because I figured out a technique that like how like to like print these raster images. That way I could do photo bashes and print them on a T-shirt. And I figured it out in a way that was like super affordable. That wasn't like, hey, like here's a billion colors. Like we can't print this. This is like too many colors. Like, and the print will wash if we do another technique. So I managed to find a technique to like do it in a way where like you can print it and it'll survive like a lot of washes, but it's affordable to print for both the printer and the client.
Yeah.
I was very proud of that, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Like I think every time I design the line, like each new thing is like, I would like I design stuff that I would wear, and I would like a little bit of like self-promote. I think I'm a fairly fashionable guy, so
definitely you are.
Like I think, thank you. I think like whatever I design, I'm like I would wear that. I don't design it if I wouldn't wear it.
Yeah.
Right. So. Yeah,
guys,
so that's tough to find a favorite person.
No, that's fair. And guys, if you don't follow Drew on social media, his links will be down below, and we'll mention it later on at the end of the episode. but please do follow him. The fashion pieces, the fashion shoots that you sometimes get to do, the clothes you wear, your fits. Like, honestly, I'm jealous. I wish I could pull them off. I just don't have anything in my wardrobe like that, or have the money to go shopping in general. But yeah, no, your fashion choices are top notch. Your tattoos are amazing, all of them. The ones that, even the new ones. It just you're very well put together, Drew. And then back onto the original point. Your favorite fashion piece that you've created in general, not just with East Coast Throwdown.
Man, I designed like a really, really cool jacket that AliExpress stole and started selling.
Boom.
And it was a really dope like rose bomber. And if you ever see it, like, just know it's my design, but it's like there's roses on the sleeves. And I managed to find an affordable way to like get embroidered roses, not just on the sleeve, but on like the body of the bomber jacket. And I was really proud of that because I took photos of some roses in different angles, retraced it, put it in Illustrator, vectorized it, made it look like, you know, like this, something like this, but with roses. And I was just like, hell yeah. Like, they took it and now they're making probably hundreds of thousands off of it. Instead of me, it was okay. Like, I get it.
It's
but
not okay. Don't still work, people. You can basically not still work. You can learn from it, you can copy it, but don't say it's your own.
It's okay. That factory got blacklisted anyway from a bunch of fashion. Like, so like in my apparel days, like I learned a lot about like garments, where garments come from, what factories are using them, where to source it from, like what type of fabrics. And like, yeah, I managed to find the same suppliers that Supreme would use. There's a fast brand called Alex, like Fear of God, like all those guys. Like I managed to find that factory, and I'm not going to give it up. Like that's like an insider secret.
Yeah,
like you sign a contract to like, you know. Turns out like they had like an employee there who got fired. You know, luckily they took it down, but it took like 3 years. They took it down, but like. Yeah, like it's very like it's a very cool thing to like know how like the sauce is made, to all the favorite clothing brands you buy.
Definitely.
But one big tip: if I buy something, you should probably look into it because it's probably good.
100%.
It's probably good.
Yeah,
good quality, not good like design. That's subjective, but good quality, like, you know.
Yes.
So
clothes and shoes.
I
think you put me onto New Balances as well as some other people.
Yeah. I put it on to you like 5 years ago before it got popular.
I've only just got to it, so that was my bad. That's my bad. But yeah, New Balances.
No. Dude, they haven't changed the way they manufactured it, so you're good.
Yeah. Although, yeah, just made in the UK, made in the US stuff, so good. The 1960s, honestly, perfect. But
fantastic.
Honestly, they're so good. Like cushions for my feet are amazing.
They're comfy as hell. I'm glad they're considered fashionable because I was like, they look good. I don't care if my dad wears it. Like, that's
the thing.
They look good.
That's the thing. Like, you can dress like a dad, like from the 80s, and it's now perfectly fine.
To be fair, we're at the ages where we could be dads anyway, so if it's age appropriate for us.
I mean, I don't think I've got any kids. I'm not sure. Don't think I do. Do you? We won't go there.
I mean, I hope not. I'm a floozy, but like, I hope not.
I've already joked.
I wear protection, kids.
Yeah,
wear protection, kids.
Okay, back on topic because we are going everywhere now.
Hey, we have ADHD. It's bound to happen.
It's gonna happen. So, like, we've always discussed like what you're most known for, like East Coast Throwdown. You've done so much work for so many different companies. How do you define success?
Oh, I actually had this deep talk because I was during the Evo Awards, there were 2 awards happening at the same time.
Okay.
It was a Canadian Game Show Awards and the Evo Awards, and like people were, I got a few people mentioned, they're like, your fingerprints are on everything, and I was like, yeah, but like, I don't really feel like that's an important thing, right? They're like, you should feel like this, like you're dating someone I was dating at the time, or still dating, and they're like, you should feel proud. Like, this is success. And I don't feel successful. Like, to me, successful is like, am I able to do the work? Am I able to get hired again? I don't care about the accolade, right? I don't care about getting the trophy. I care if I can stand behind the work I do, and if I can get the opportunity to keep doing that work, right? That's what I stand behind. I don't. It's good to like pat yourself on the back once in a while. Like, I'm learning to do that. I go to therapy. Like, I'm learning to do that. I need to do that more often. But I don't think. I don't find the validation now. I find the validation having the opportunity to keep doing what I love to do, which is design. I love to design stuff. Doesn't matter. Apparently, it doesn't matter what you hand me. I'll design it, from set designs to like, you know, to like trophies and stuff or medals. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll do it, right? But that's what I care a lot about: the validation that you trust me to design for you again, and the opportunity to have the work. That's what I care a lot, and I find a lot of. That's what I'm proud of. The most proud of. I'm proud that I'm able to like talk to you today and talk about what I've done, because like, I don't care what it is. I could be happy making a logo for a mom and pop shop, but I'm gonna stand behind it because I know I did my best on that. You know, I know I did my best for that. I mean, that's what that's what I define success. Can you keep handing me work, right?
Yeah.
Are you happy with the work that I provide to you? Am I happy with the work I provide to you? Like, that's what I define successful. And that's why I don't really feel happy, like, or successful, because I feel like I could always be doing more. I feel like I could always like design more.
Yeah.
And I wish I could like say, oh yeah, like, you know, I work for. I mean, I can't say it now. Like, I work for X big shoe company. No, I work for a big shoe company. The work's not out yet. It's been 3 years, but like, it will come out when it comes, right? Like, but like, it's not gonna be like, it's only gonna make me happy for like maybe a minute, because I'm like, finally it's out. Then I'm like, will they hire me again? Well, did they love working with me that they'll hire me again? That's what makes me feel successful. Am I consistently collaborating with you? Right? Am I actually able to do the work for you? Like, that's success. I think, and I'm happy for everyone that got on the award. I think that wouldn't make me feel successful. Like, I don't need validation from like 100, like all those people. I just need to know that I did good work. I just need to know that I could keep doing good work and that I could get more good work. That's what makes me feel happy at the end of the day.
Good.
Like, I'm the happiest when like I'm locked in, stressed out in mind on like 18 coffees, like creating something for you. That's successful to me. And again, making a living off of that.
Yes.
Like, taking care of the people I love with what I do. I can't say I am, because I still can't take care of the people I love. Like, I still can't, like, you know, well, my friends need money because, you know, times are tough. Like, I can't help them, and that makes me feel like shit, right? Because I'm not successful enough to, you know, like, spare them $1,000 or $2, right? Or like $10,000 or $2, you know? Like, that's why I don't feel successful, because I can't do that. I can't help the people I love, and I can't keep getting good work. Or rather, I can, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how consistent it'll be. Like, the opportunities.
Fair.
So that's why I find that actually really difficult to answer.
And that's perfectly fine. That's fair. Like, every question I ask on this podcast, I don't expect. Well, I do expect an answer, but you may not have the answer currently, and that's perfectly fine. And so, yeah, you may not feel like you are successful right now. I hope you are happy to a degree. You mentioned you were unhappy just now, and like, I hope you are happy. And yeah, no, I'd feel you on that one again. Everything you've said like resonates with me. Like, I want to be able to have my work and be able to repeatedly have customers come back, clients come back and hire me again. And then I'll be able to use that money to not only keep myself going, but also help friends and family out where, you know, my close friends and family might be in trouble and need some money or whatever help they might need from me. I'm able to give it to them. So yeah, no, I completely understand that, and yeah,
it's a tough time for the industry in general. Like, that's why. Like, I totally get that.
It's horrible right now. Like every industry, it doesn't matter what industry. Like the world at the moment is in a tough time, and I think I posted this on Blue Sky. Which, by the way, guys, there is now a Blue Sky account. So if you guys want to go follow Behind the Stage at Blue Sky, that would be amazing. But yeah, no, what I posted on my personal account really was like, the world is a hard place. It doesn't hurt to be nice. So just be nice to be nice to everyone you meet. Just be happy. Be friendly to everyone. Like, everyone's going through something you might not know or see. So just be nice, be friendly.
Yeah.
On to a similar vein of successful questioning, or questioning about being successful or not, and how you define it. Even what you've defined is, you are able to have repeat clients come back to you, trust you with creating something for them, and have full creative control. And whilst you may not think you are successful, what do you think is the most successful thing you've achieved within your career currently so far? Successful, popular, however you want to phrase that term.
I think the two most popular works I've done is definitely the Valorant work I did for EMEA, and the gun skin, because that made money. Like, people, like, I think someone told me it was like in the top 5 seller of the year, like, for that year, and the number 1 skin in that bundle, like, that they had, or at least top 2. I don't remember the specific details, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I see it a lot on like Rainbow Six Siege, like, clips from players who are like unsponsored. So that's really cool too. Like, just those hype clips of them like using the gun and the skin and just trying to make a name for themselves, and just like, hey, I made that. But I think those are my I think those are my most popular works for sure so far. That I can legally say.
Yes, yeah. That you can legally say that it's currently out. Again, Rainbow Six gun skin. It's, I want to say, like cherry blossoms. It's been a while since I've actually looked.
It's a chrysanthem, and it was the only floral skin gun in that bundle, and that's why I did well, I think, because everyone else had like a really cool character or illustration on the side, but I just drew a flower because that's, I mean, the brand was very synonymous with flowers at the end, so that's what I did, and it worked out. It worked out very well for everyone involved.
Exactly. And speaking of everyone involved, you are obviously a freelancer, solo worker by yourself. You don't really work in a team as such when you're designing most things. Yeah, no?
I mean, I work in it, like,
yeah.
It's a mix, right? Sometimes I'm anchoring a project by myself. Sometimes I'm working in a team. And it just depends, right? And early on, like, for the first, like, four or 5 years of my career, I worked in a team. Like, I managed to, like, go from the grunt to, like, managing. So that was really cool. Like, and I did it fairly quickly, too. Like, I was, like, 26 or 24 when I started managing people. 26 when I got out of working in-house and went on my own. And technically, like, I think the last event I did, they literally classified me as a design firm, because that's how people were calling me nowadays. You were behind the stage anyway. No, a design firm. And I was like, I'm not a design firm. Look at me, man. Like, I got my Dragon Quest slimes and Snorlaxes all over it. This is not a design firm, brother. This is just a goofball trying to make a living clicking a mouse, like most of everyone else, you know. Like, that's why. But no, like, technically, that's how much the freelancing evolved, right? It turned into, like, hey, people just refer to my designer name as, like, a design firm.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Amazing. No, definitely. But okay, so as an example, as a design firm of Drewface, or 50/50,
or studio, whatever people want to say.
Yeah. You have to build out a team. The job requires a team. You can't anchor it by yourself. It's just too much work. What do you look for in building a team of designers?
Just be attitude is the number one thing, because I can always teach you the skill, which is why every time you talk about my skill, I'm like, I worked hard. I think anyone can work. Like, I think anyone can work hard. I can't teach you how to have a good attitude. I can't teach you how to I can't teach you how to react when someone tells you negatively, right? Like, those are things you have to learn on your own, or those are things where you have to really experience some life-changing stuff to change your attitude, right? Can't teach that. I've dealt with both. I've dealt with people who were very, very great attitude. Now they're in higher places, right? And I've dealt with people who have very, very negative attitudes, and now they're wondering why where they are, and it just comes down to that. So I look for a good attitude first. The skills I could teach you, but you should at least be somewhat confident to do the skill, But that, that's basically the two things I work, because and then afterwards, depending on the project, I look at your process. I look at how you break things down. I will look at how you what type of person you are in terms of how you deliver drafts and rounds to me.
Okay.
And those are way less important, because I could teach you that. I could teach you hey, this is our workflow process. How are you going to make it your own, or are you just going to follow this? Which is perfectly fine, because it's easier to follow than figuring out how it works for you. So attitude is one thing. And I was younger. I had a shit attitude too at some point in my life. So I learned the hard way too.
Who hasn't given shit attitude whilst at work, especially as a young kid, fresh, their first job,
fresh out of college,
fresh out of anything, just their first job's oh, I'm the best. Yeah. You might have the confidence, but the attitude is not talking.
Hey, you work retail, be a server for in your college and high school years, that'll teach you good character. That'll teach you a lot of good character work.
Oh, sure.
Trust me.
I tell people if they ever ask me if they should do customer service, I say yes. And I normally say if you can last a month to 3 months, that will teach you pretty much how to handle anyone and everyone in your life.
I'd say a year, a good year.
A good year?
Yeah, a good year. Because then you learn. Yeah. If you can survive a year, and I like seeing that. When I look at resumes, I like to see people will always have their personality trait listed somewhere, because it's good because now we use AI to search resumes and stuff. That's good, but I'll only know if you have those traits if I look at your jobs. I see if you lasted at least a year or two, or 3 is a good year to last, or if you worked at really tough jobs, and how long you worked there for. Because the people I hired, especially older folks, because when I was 24, 25, and I started hiring people, the people that I worked well with were the people who came from construction, retail. And they worked there for 2, 3, 5 years. Then they were either wanted a career change, or they got out of school. And they already came in with a good mindset. They already knew what life would how hard life can be. And those were the people I really meshed with a lot. Because I was hey, you understand it. And I was very fortunate to learn management skills early on. I learned a lot about myself too, managing people, how to talk to people, because when you're 24, you don't realize you're an arrogant prick, especially when you got promoted to be a senior designer so quickly. So there's that too. So giving feedback, I learned how to give feedback properly, not properly, but very, very good way.
Yes.
And when people hire me, East Coast Throwdown, I worked in a team. I had to get and at Evo too, I had to give Meeks notes. And he liked my notes. He responded well. And when I give notes to like young designers too, when they ask me for help, like I learned how to like, because you gotta be real with them, but you gotta be real in a way that they can handle it, right? You can't just like give it to them straight. Be like, right? You can't just like, very few people can do that. I love the people that can take that though. Yes. Like if you can do that, yo, that's a great quality to have, brother. But most people can, and they should, right? I don't think people should be shot down their throats all the time.
No, it should be the norm. That should not be the norm.
There should not be the norm. No, but good on you if you can. But if I learned to like, hey, compliment sandwich. Hey, this is great, but here's where my issues are. But don't worry, we can improve these. These are fixable. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. And
straight up, I remember. So like, I was senior manager at a medical marketing company.
Okay.
Senior designer at a medical marketing company, and I gave a feedback, and the art direction was totally off.
Oh.
But it was so well executed. This was phenomenally executed. And I had to, like, this is where I learned how to do the compliment sandwich, because I was like, and I learned they responded so much better when I did it like that. That's how I learned to like give out feedback properly, or rather the way that I like to give feedback out. I was like, and I told them, I was like, hey, this is really well done. Like, I love all these elements, because I did love the elements that they did. They did like a really cool, like groovy floral texting. This was in 2016, right?
Okay.
Or 2016. So it's like before it got popular, this whole like groovy retro look.
Yeah.
And it looked fantastic. The font typography was good. It would have stood out from all the other boring medical ads. Then I had to break the bad news, and I said, but unfortunately, we gotta put this in, like, we gotta save this for a rainy day. That's why I was like, we gotta save this, because even though this is so well done, it's not what the client wanted, right? But we could fix it, and don't worry, I'll help you fix it, right? Because it's like, I know how much work you put into this, and I know you're exhausted. Please save this for a rainy day. And to be nice, and I told all my designers when they worked under me, you can post this on your portfolio, like, just save it for a rainy day. We gotta make it look like this boring sterile ad, right? And they took it really well, and then that made me think, hey, I should give feedback like this, right? Because they're sad, but they weren't angry.
Yes,
they weren't like like that little like attitude.
Oh yeah.
They had a positive attitude. They're like, oh, this is good. It's just not right. So I learned to give feedback like that.
Yeah.
But when you're a young designer, sometimes you can't read through that.
No.
You can't read, like,
all you hear is,
you just see the negative part only.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't fix. That's what I mean by attitude. I can't fix that.
No.
You gotta
work that out in retail and then come back to me.
Either understand that, hey, I'm actually saying positive feedback because it is, I'm being honest with you when I give positive feedback, right?
Yeah.
The negative stuff doesn't outweigh the positive stuff ever. That's what people don't understand. The positive stuff should either be equal or better than the negative feedback. Because sometimes it's not what we need right now.
Yes.
So a lot of designers, young designers, that's a problem I find a lot with young designers, right? And I I had to give them a long talk, but like a heartfelt one, like telling them that, hey, this is what I went through too. Because I started my first design job at 22.
Okay.
So I get it, 21, 22. So I get it, man. I've been there. I get it.
We've all been there. We've all started somewhere. We're all young. We were all young once, at least.
The nature of creative work is like, it's personal, right?
Yes.
That's where the energy comes from. You put so much of your personal stuff into it, and it's hard to. You have to balance out with, like, put that battery source, that source of power, will lead you to foreign places. But understand, you have to balance it out. That, like, does this fit my client needs? And I find young designers are like, They forget that other half, but they figure it out later on, right? But some people don't figure it out, and then I have to come in and save them because they told like a client, they sold themselves on a client. And now this client needs last minute work, but you don't want to do the changes. And then that's when like a homie hits me up, or like a CEO will contact my my inbox, be like, hey, I just need this work done. And you were referred to me by like a homie. Can you like get it done within 8 hours or whatever? And that's when I come in, I'm like, here we go. Right? So it's like
Drew saving the day.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. Like a lot of my career has been built like that, which is my next point. Being available is very, very good. It's a very, very good skill.
Yes, it is. Hopefully, eventually, maybe hopefully now, if you aren't already, let you get to a stage where you can start declining jobs. Like the power to say no is extremely powerful.
Oh yeah,
but
I've said no many times throughout the years. Yeah,
but obviously, like when you are building up, when you are still creating your career, working on your career to be as big as someone like you, Drew, you know, being
I'm not that big.
You are. Stop. You don't give yourself enough credit. You know, being able to take those jobs, say yes, do them all, and get to the point where suddenly your calendar, your week, your day is all booked up because you've got work on for so many hours, and there's only so many hours and so many days that you can just say yes to, and then you have to turn down jobs, and then you start being selective with what jobs you can take on.
I think to extend on your point, when you decline a job, and this is really important, always still leave the door open.
Yes.
Don't shut the door completely.
No.
Be honest with them. Like, tell them why you're busy, right? And early on when I was young, I took a lot of bad jobs too, but they taught me the most. They taught me like not the design skill part. They taught me how to deal with clients. And that's a really important skill to have. And I don't think you can develop it without experiencing it yourself. So learn, like, say yes. Then you'll learn when to say no.
Yes.
Right? Then you'll learn where your boundary is as a person and as a professional. And I would say be available, but when you get more experience, when you get more reps in, you'll figure out when to say no. And that's when you know that you hit a good spot as a designer. Personally.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
Because I've had to say no a lot.
I bet.
Especially the last 3 years. Yeah.
You've been busy the last 3 years, man. What can I say?
Yeah.
The next question is, I'm going to spin it around slightly, only because we've been talking about fighting games, talking about Valorant, and I ask this every time to one of my guests in a completely different way. So you get a special take on this one. What is your favorite event? Working it or attending it, doesn't matter. What has been your favorite event to attend?
I don't think people can get invited to it. I love the personal gatherings with my friends the most. That's my favorite gatherings. That's my favorite event.
That's a legit.
I love the low key intimate stuff where, you know, you go to dinner with your friends and then you go to like their place after and play games with. That's the root of like what I love about events. Is that the ability to walk into a room where everyone has a silent understanding of where everyone came from and what they love. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. You just have to sit down and, you know, enjoy good food, have a good convo, tell cool stories. Those are my favorite types of events. I don't I've been to like cool big events. I've been flown around the world to do it. I'm very happy and fortunate to do it. But I still find those intimate moments those smaller events are my favorite. I love going to like a local where like it's 8 people, but these people love the games just as much as I do. Or they're all my friends and they love the game. I know they love the game just as much as I do. I don't gotta like worry or talk about anything. I don't gotta have a guy introduce me to someone and say, this guy's Drew. He actually works at he worked at Evil. He works at East Coast Throwdown. He works at Riot, whatever. Or Shopify. He's on the shirt you're wearing. I found the guy. I actually hate that. I hate when people know what I do, and they don't know me as a person, right? So I love those more intimate sessions because I get to learn, I get to learn about the person.
Yeah.
I get to be around people. I'm not like someone that they see that can give them opportunity, or that's knows someone that can give them opportunity.
Yeah.
I love being the person that loves, that you know me because you love fighting games and you know I love fighting games too. Or you know me because I love music and food and you love music and food too. Or you love to have a good hang, have a good drink. That's why those are my favorite types of events. I don't like, I enjoy going to these big events, and I hope I never like stop going to them. But they're not my favorites. So, like, my favorite is like hang out with my like 5 people that I'm close with, intimate with, and we don't gotta talk shop. We just gotta throw down and slam some beers and throw down. You know what I'm saying? Those are my favorite.
Just hang with the homies. Just hitting buttons, drinking, talking, chatting. And just having a good time with people of like-minded nature, and not talk shop. That's no fair. That's a great answer. Like, again, I ask this question in different ways to all my guests, and each time I come up with either similar answers or something that is completely like left field. And this is one of the things, again, resonates with me. Like
Was it left field?
This was not left field. This was definitely not left field. This is normal.
Damn.
This is like, if this was left field, man, that'd be kind of wild. Like, who doesn't like having sessions with the homies? Like, this, just chilling, playing games and chatting shit and drinking a few beers and drink. It's all cool. It's all good. You spoke earlier about how you got into this role, got you where you are now. That's how you got exposed to being a creative, right? You enjoyed creating. You got your shot with the T-Series. You asked the guy just like, hey, like, can I just create the poster, right? And they gave you the shot. And snowball after snowball, after event, after talking, after chatting, after playing OG Fight K, doing Dragon Punches for so many million times, to working with East Coast Throwdown and everything else. So getting exposure is just basically not being at the right place at the right time, but asking for your shot. It doesn't hurt to ask. My final question really of the night of this whole podcast, really, I say final question, there's always going to be more questions after this. What is one thing you want people to know about your role in the mindset of fighting game events as a designer? What is one thing people wanting to be you or be in the same position as you, what is one thing they should know?
Just treat people like they're people. Not like they're someone that can give you something. Just treat them like you want to be treated. Right? I want to be treated like a person. I want to have a good time. I want to hang out. I want to throw down. I want to play games. I always ask everyone, like, yo, you want to play games? Like, I don't really care about, like, even at my booth, like, I had people coming over, didn't care if they wanted to buy a t-shirt. I just asked them if they wanted to play Street Fighter 4 with me. Like, so it's like, or Street Fighter 6 now, because I do enjoy 6. If you want to be where I am, like, I think anyone can be where I am, right? It's just a matter of, like, how are you networking, right? Are you putting your best foot forward? Because my best foot forward was, like first, being a friend or being someone they could be a friend with. And then it turned into, like, this guy's a homie, like, and he could do the job. Other opportunities that I got, I showcased. For example, the Shopify job, like, I got it because of a homie, but Shopify initially I was on their radar because I did concept work. Like, I did fan art. Yeah. I did because I loved it. Yeah. I loved the team. I wanted them to have cooler jerseys. And that spirit of, like, hey, I want to help you. I want to help you. Here's how I can help you. Like, that spirit will take you far. It's taken me far. Look at where I am, right? And it, like, that if there's anything to take away, you can take it those two ways. I find those two ways are more organic. Yeah, it'll take a lot longer. Like how many people like Rick didn't even know I designed until like 2017. Like I was designing for so long until then, and good work too because I was getting hired. Like it was good enough to get out work full time in it. You never know, man. You just never know. You just never know. And so when you put yourself out there, try not to make it that you're like that you want something more, because the spirit of like I want to do cool things, show you want to do cool things, right? How do you show it? Well, I showed it in two ways, right? I showed it through like creating cool fan art and like being homeless with people, because at the time I didn't even know these guys were like. When I met Josh, I didn't know he was the head of esports. I just thought he was a cool guy.
Yeah.
Just same with Mike.
Yeah.
Right. Same with Walter. Like I just wanted someone to play Super Turbo with. Didn't know he was like a head TO. Didn't know he was an influential figure in the back. And same with like the Shopify like people. I played Tetris with them, right? And all the Valorant stuff too. Like all my esports work, like I met in Valorant and Rainbow Six. I played with them and trolled them online with my mic. And then then someone was like, "Hey, don't you know this guy works at like X esports thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I mean, if you need a designer, that like here's a funny story, like actually, really." And he's one of my like homies to this day. On Valorant, like 3 or 4 years ago, I was solo queuing, like a degenerate, and like I was in the rank call, right? Like, and I was doing good comms, like that you're supposed to do, good call outs, like all that stuff. But I was also making jokes in between. Like, I'll be like, "Yo, what up, baby? I'll eat your ass. I'll like boot groceries or whatever." And I was making them laugh. And then it turns out the person was like the head of marketing for MSI. The other person was like the head of like development for like the player management for like Oni Studios. That's how I met them. I trolled them online and they just liked my vibe. And then it turns out I was a good designer that they knew of. They already knew. They didn't know I was Drewface because I don't play. When I play online, I never play under Drewface. I try and make a punny name, like a really punny name, like Frank Lotion, or like I have another one. I have another one named John Lick because it's like John Wick, but with Lick. Like that's my other one. Like or like I have so many others, right? But I do that, and it turns out like they're like, "Oh, dude, like I know your work from Parabellum, or I know your work from Rainbow Six, or I know your work from the FGC. What the hell? You play Valorant?" I was like, "Yeah, I love Valorant." They're like, "Yo, like, dude, like we might need a designer," and they did need design work, and I did do work for them. So it's like, you never know. Like, just I've been very lucky, like in that regard, that my personality helped me, get these crazy opportunities, and on top of that, like me just like constantly showing that I'm working, improving, doing all these cool fan art and concepts. Like that's how I got all these other stuff too. So
fair.
It's to me, it doesn't feel like a lot of work. Which is why I tell people I think anyone can do what I could do. But I think at the end of the day, like just how you are, like be on your like. I'm always like not like I'm always myself, right? Luckily, it's like is enough for people. Like I'm honest, transparent. I'm trolly. I'm a meme. I'm like lighthearted. I'm always like that, right? Like I'm very fortunate that like that has helped like me secure so many opportunities, but more importantly, I've made so many cool friends that way, and that's my thing.
That's your take. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
Like you made so many friends along the way, and yeah, that's
like an anime.
Yeah, that is literally the key point. Like it's the friends you made along the way. Like the job is what you love doing, but that's second to making new connections. Like the networking aspect
like,
of personality.
I'm still friends with these guys to this day. I don't care if they give me a job or not. I never did. All I cared about was like, yo, you want to play Valorant today? Yo, you want to go grab a drink today? Yo, how are you, man? Like, is everything all right? Like, I check up on like the director who like the person who gave me the Game Changers job. I check up on them like every quarter, like just because I care about them.
Right.
I care about them as a person.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause that's and then all of a sudden, like, they're like, hey, here's a pretty cool opportunity. Like, we need your help. So I was like, shit, I'll take it.
Why not? Yeah, I need a job. It's fine.
Hmm.
Right. Last question. Last two questions, even, because there's always one more question.
I'm sorry for going over. I talked too
No, they don't go over nothing. Like, this is all perfectly fine. This is the whole point of a podcast, right? We all yap and we all talk, and they actually we go on so many tangents. It's hilariously fun. This is great. No, one question I have that's been on the back of my mind ever since you mentioned you made apparel. I'm guessing people can't, but where could people potentially find 50/50 apparel if it's still being made? Or would you bring it back?
It's not being made. I wouldn't bring it back. I think I'm just too busy. Like, I'm doing so much apparel for everyone else. Like,
You can't do
that
it
is-
anymore.
I can't do it for myself anymore. And I'm happy to say that because like I had a lot of struggles as a small business owner. Like that was a solo man project. Like it was like I shipped everything, I printed the tees, I did all the negotiations. It was tough.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot as a person, for sure. But it was super hard. Like, man, it was tough. And I got to see so many sides of people that I thought I would never see, and some of it wasn't great. And that fucked me up for a bit. So,
Yeah, now I've got some friends who are, again, small business owners themselves, and luckily it's a partnership, so they both take on equal work, but yeah, they've been jaded with the things they've seen in people, around people, about people, just everywhere, it was not worth talking about. No, the final question really then is, as much as you've been talking for so long, and mentioning so many wonderful people and so many names, anyone you want to give a shout out to? Where can people find you? Anything you want to promote so far, Drew? Like, the podium is yours once again.
I mean, I don't think I have anything that I can legally promote, but I got people I can shout out. Like, shout out to my best friend, Ashay. Like, he's my closest friend and my confidant. Like, I tell him, like, I'm glad he listens to me, man, because sometimes I feel like I'm just too much. Shout out to Ro, like, Ro's one of my other close friends. I'm happy and proud of him, how he grew into an event director. He inherited everything I gave him from Incendium, and he made it big. Like, he turned it, like, I was at the NBA, like the Raptors court. That's all him, man. He got the FGC and the NBA courts on the Jumbotron, playing in the NBA courts. That's so crazy. Like, yeah, that's all him, right? And the Toronto FGC is featured on Univo ads in Canada. Like, that's him. It's not, like, it's crazy how what he did with what I inherited. Oh, I could probably promote his stuff. Like, he has an event called Run the Set. It's their monthly, the Incendium monthly. I'm not part of them anymore, but I think it's like March 3rd or something. It's like the early March, and you guys can sign up for that if you're ever in Toronto. It's really cool stuff. And then I think I'm hoping like maybe they'll get like another Tekken World Tour. Like, you guys should check that out too, because Ro's good. Ro can run an event. Shouts to like Walter. Like, he's like my mentor, and I call him my N High, which is big brother of Vinny Moves. And Zach too. Zach, like, Katamari, like my N High as well, my big brother. And then shouts to Rick as well. For like all those three, I owe them a lot for my like career. Like, they pushed me in places where I never thought. Like, I worked for Pokemon at one point because Rick was like, "Here you go." Like, so I was very fortunate, like, to be considered even like a good designer in this part.
Mm.
And then shouts to Meeks as well in Austin. Like, I love those guys. I worked at them with Evo. They're at different places now. And then like shouts to Wrench too. Like, big supporter, big fan of his. And yeah, shit. Shouts to Clage. Clage is like, met him at Working Evil, but like he's like grown to be one of like someone I could talk to every day and just hear amazing stories about Guilty Gear and speedrunning. Like, he's an awesome Castlevania speedrunner, but he's also an awesome Guilty Gear, like old school Guilty Gear player. And I love every time he streams that stuff. And yeah, like, that's, I think, those are the top of my head. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting so many other people because there's so many. Like, I'm only here because of so many people that helped me, right? So that's the one thing. Like, I could say I did it by myself. I didn't. Like, all I did was, like, I did the easy part, which is, like, the work. Like, people vouching for me, trusting me to get to where I am. I know I'm forgetting a lot of names right now because I'm on the spot, but I gotta thank them too and shout them out.
It's all good, man. It's all good. No, we've got, yeah, amazing people, amazing names, and yeah, we wouldn't be where we are in each other, in like yourself, myself, Drew, like where we wouldn't be where we are now if it weren't for the people that we spoke to, but made friends with. Our friends make us, right? So it is 100% true. And yeah, shout out to Clage, amazing speedrunner, amazing Guilty Gear player, and obviously you mentioned his name. I have to shout out the Lord, the King Degen himself, Ringe, with the luscious hair. He is amazing. He is.
That's how we met.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Just hanging out in communities is just one thing where we just suddenly started watching Cheaters, and Death Note music was great. Where can people find your work? Where can people reach out and see your stuff, Drew? Like, do you want people to
don't find my work, please? Please don't. Oh no, you can find me on Twitter, Drewface _ but I'm not tweeting about work. I'm just venting about random stuff like Toronto sports or like weird obscure fighting game things or fashion. My work you can actually find on my portfolio, drewface.co. Other than that, I think more importantly, there's other people you should follow. Like follow Incendium. They do great stuff in Canada. Follow Casa Punch. Like, he's doing cool stuff. Follow Health for DIY. Those guys. Like, I rather promote that. DIY actually. Hold on, let me look it up. I think it's in May. DIY. Yeah, DIY, like that's an event coming up. Like, they work so hard. It's May 3rd to 4th. Check that stuff out. Follow, like, I think DIY FGC on Twitter. That event's being ran by House, Team Stickbug, shouts to Sway, and Casa together. They're working together to make an event. And that's like, you gotta check that out. That's some cool stuff. And then, those guys. Check those guys out. Don't check my stuff out. Who cares? I can't even name half the stuff I worked on. It's all under wraps anyway. All right. Definitely shouts to you too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just the waiter. I'm just the one with the plate serving you up. So and serving everyone, all my guests up to the wider world to share the love and like shout out about what you guys do, because you guys do amazing work. I am just one lonely guy a lonely photographer. Like, I am no one special, but thank you. Right, Drew, that is a lot of your time taken up, a lot of talking on your part, as always. I have a comment already from the previous episodes where they just see me nodding along, and like that. The whole point of the podcast is I ask a question and I let you guys go, and yeah, we go where the ADHD takes us, and we went everywhere today, so it's amazing. But Drew, thank you again for your time. Thank you for
having me, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime. We love talking to you on Discord, on this, anytime. Like, hopefully I can catch you in person soon. And guys, again, thank you for listening or watching. Please subscribe, do the stuff, do the things, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.